When we adjust the camera, that's what it was?
Oh no. Where you put the camera was just where the camera was supposed to be, baby.
Good evening, y'all. It's Marriage Mondays.
It's Marriage Mondays.
I am Evelyn Dudu-Yami.
And I am Baoku Dudu-Yami.
And we be coming to you. This is our sixth Marriage Mondays. Something like that.
Something like that.
I am a sacred woman practitioner and wellness coach, certified by Queen Afua.
And I am an iEducation Institute Warrior Healer Builder facilitator.
And so we offer family and marriage coaching. And we've been doing this Marriage Mondays for a little bit, right?
That's right.
And I ran into somebody today that I didn't know, and she was like, sis, I like the Marriage Mondays. So that made me feel good. You know what I'm saying? That y'all are enjoying it.
I hope you also find it useful.
So today's topic is money matters. I was hoping that he wouldn't, but then I knew that he would. Okay, so money matters. Before we get into that, though, I do want to remind you of Relationship Wednesdays, which is coming up this Wednesday. And in fact, those of you who are loyal listeners, who are loyal watchers, can use your entry, your tuition, your registration. That's what I'm looking for.
Registration
for Relationship Wednesday toward one-on-one personal counseling in the month of September. What is that? Personal coaching. Thank you. In the month of September. What does that mean? That means, say you're spending $35 for Relationship Wednesdays, right? And you come and do that on Wednesday. And then you can put that $35 toward, it's like off of a session with the two of us.
That's right.
Right? So it'd be like you got the Relationship Wednesday for free. You think of it that way.
Exactly.
Anyway, so that's for y'all, our loyal watchers. I don't like that because it doesn't have alliteration. I'm looking for to tell you, here we go. What are we going to do in Relationship Wednesdays?
Yes.
We are going to talk about how to prepare for important conversations, right? So that you can get the most out of them, right? Tools, very clear tools about how to prepare yourself, your space, HESI to sing, herbs, all of that sort of a thing. We're going to talk about how to use words as medicine for both yourself and the person that you are speaking to. We're going to talk about how to use words to shape behavior, right? You want him to do something, right? The words you've been using, do you know what I'm saying? Brother, can you do it?
That's right.
Right? What are some other possibly more effective ways to use words to shape behavior? And we're going to talk about the category of words that you never, ever want to say to someone that you care about, and how to handle it when people say those words to you, right?
That's right.
So all of that and more, because I'm sure there will be more, because we are doing it on Zoom so that we can interact, right? So that you can ask questions and we can talk to y'all, and that just makes for a whole fabulous organic conversation that I'm sure will include more than that. How much is it? $20 a person, $35 a couple, all right? And that's about half off what this kind of thing might normally cost, right? It is Wednesday, September 11th. It's going to be 8 to 9:30 on Zoom. Today is the last day to register, right?
Yes,
now, I know that, I'm sorry, y'all. We are better coaches than we are web page administrators. Is that the right word, right? So when we put it on the web, it's not acting right. And then it's charging shipping because of the book, and it's thinking it's a book. Okay, so I apologize for that. And if you want to register, go ahead and PayPal me at evelyn.washington@gmail.com. And that's in the description. Mm-hmm. Or if you don't have PayPal, you want to, you know what I'm saying? Well, I want to come, but how are we doing, right? Just give me a call.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 404-964-8942. 404-964-8942. And we'll figure it out. Right?
That's right.
So that is Relationship Wednesdays. So go ahead, not at this exact moment, because we want you to stay here with Marriage Monday, but as soon as we're done, go ahead and register for that. Register by you send the $20 or $35 via PayPal, or call me at that number, text me at that number. Sis, how are we gonna make that?
That's right.
And we will.
Great job.
All right. So money matters. Topic. Money matters. Where do we want to start? Let's see. I have a list as usual.
Right. You can start at the top of the list. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. We're going to work on.
Well, I think I did it in different in the order and a something and a something.
No problem.
Here's where we wanted to start. We wanted to start with the idea that money, right? Money in a marriage is an opportunity for conflict, right?
Right. Money in a marriage, or how we want to manage money, how we believe others manage money, how we quote unquote should manage money. These are opportunities, like very many other opportunities in a relationship, for conflict to develop. It's not unlike what school should our children go to. It's not unlike who's supposed to be washing the dishes today, or why that shirt on the floor. It's an opportunity to have conflict. And the wonderful thing about conflict and that is that it's an opportunity for growth. See, when we have conflict, we have an opportunity to understand more about ourselves. We have an opportunity to understand more about the people that we have a conflict with. And then we get to make decisions together because of that. So what do we have when we do all those things? We get an opportunity for better communication. We get an opportunity to resolve the conflict. And whether we resolve the conflict or not, that growth is going to happen, because we get an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and how to manage those situations where the conflict is resolved in the way we want to or not. And all that helps us to become a more unified couple as we learn to manage money matters together.
So that idea is an unusual one, a one that a lot of people don't hold, right? That conflict is actually an opportunity, right? And one of the things we do is teach skills that can change the conflict. Like you can milk it for all the opportunity, right? You can mine the gold out of the conflict, right?
And if you're not really, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
If you, to give you some more examples about what I mean when I'm saying conflicts, like you come into a relationship saying, well, if a brother ain't got no money, he's not worth having in a relationship. Where you come into a relationship, it's a man's responsibility to manage money, to make money and to manage money. Mm-hmm. You may come into a relationship with those ideas. You may come into a relationship with ideas about how women can't manage money or shouldn't manage money. If you're a man, you come into a relationship with what a reasonable amount of money is if you're having a relationship with someone. Mm-hmm.
Right. How much money is it okay to spend on this sort of thing? You just bought a what?
That's right.
For how much? I know you didn't just. So there are these opportunities, and to go from that space, right? Using some of the tools that we teach to make that actually an opportunity to grow closer together as a couple and to grow ourselves, right? And one of the things I really like that Baku said was whether or not that particular issue gets resolved right then or not, right? Because with all conflict, we can get to this resolution. It could be like, oh, that was so fabulous. That's right. Or it could be like, okay, so now I have to grow acceptance, patience. You know what I mean? I have to grow like, well, maybe I'll just give him a little time and he'll see that I was right. You know what I'm saying? I got to grow all sorts of things, even when it's not resolved, right?
One of the wonderful things about this growth is that it's an opportunity to trust yourself. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity to learn to trust your partner, to understand and learn to trust yourself, to understand and learn to trust your partner. And this trust is the cornerstone of a relationship, whether we're talking about money, whether we're talking about whose child is what, or child rearing. This trusting yourself and trusting other people, trusting your spouse and trusting whoever else, the cornerstone of a good relationship. It's one of lack of trust is one of the things that keeps us from having relationships. It keeps us from using those relationships to build the things we need to build. It keeps us from accomplishing some of the things we want to accomplish, not only purposely and also as people.
So I'm looking at my list, right? And now y'all usually have this whole, I put it in my phone, it's all like, now it's just like scribbled. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, ooh, what did we say? Mm-hmm. We have, that goes into sort of, we talked a bit about this idea about what does financially responsible mean, right? We have these ideas, we come into a relationship with how much is too much on this, how much should we save, how much should we spend on, how much, right? So we have the ideas about what does financially responsible mean? And what we found is that those ideas, those stories have changed over time.
That's right.
Right? And they've changed as our priorities have changed. And not sort of just our priorities about like, oh, we have kids now, so but they've changed as our commitment to the community has changed, right? They've changed as our commitment to ourselves has changed, right? So that as we are committed to fighting oppression even more and more, right? Our priorities about how we spend our money changes.
That's right.
As we're committed to healing, right? The priorities about how money changes. As we're committed to building for ourselves and for our community, our priorities about money change.
That's right.
Right? So right now we're sitting actually in the classroom, right? In our house. And I mean, first of all, it's a whole room, right? It's supposed to be a bedroom, right? Our daughter would love it if it was a bedroom because she wants to have her own room. Why do I have to share my room, right? And like, I'm just looking around the money I spent in here, do you know what I'm saying, to build this school, right? And to have this space for children in our community, which is only about that commitment, right? Otherwise, like what, it would just be a bedroom, right?
That's right.
It wouldn't have some of the stuff that I'm looking around. And so those ideas about, how much is too much and when to spend and how to spend often change as the relationship changes, as your relationship to community changes.
That's right. As my commitment to healing myself changed, as my commitment for building for my family, for our people changed, I came into the relationship, I may have been more focused on making sure that my credit score looked a particular way.
He was super focused on making sure his credit score looked. It's like super focused. It was amazing. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'll take that.
Spreadsheets. Anyway, go ahead.
That's right. So I may have been more focused on, maintaining my credit, and now I may be more focused on having a free and clear house, meaning no mortgage, owned completely myself.
Right.
I may have been, more focused on having money in savings for a rainy day as opposed to having money to build businesses that I'm going to use to support my family and not have to depend on other people for my financial reassurances.
Mm-hmm.
And so things change when you do this, when your commitments change. Things change when your thought process about what is important change, when your values change. And best believe as you're fighting, healing, building for our folks, you're going to have changes in what you do with your money, in the amount of money that you think is enough money.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's a difference when you realize that a little bit of sacrifice is what's necessary to get you from one place to the next. See, money, you start weighing that a little differently when you see the vision at the next step. And so,
and that's actually making you think, which we didn't write down, but see, that's what happens when we start having a conversation. It is likely to be expected even that both people will not make those changes at the same time.
That's right.
Right? One person will say, oh no, it's going to be fine if the lights go out.
That's right.
Right? We're just going to let the lights go out because we are building this. Right? We're going to let the lights go out because we are going to make sure we're going to pay the tuition to the African-centered school for our son, right? And the lights will just be out, and then we'll get them back on in a minute.
That's right.
Right? Or whatever it is we're doing. And the other person is like, are you crazy? How am I going to be sitting up in the house with the lights not on?
That's right.
Right? So it's likely that both of you, both people in a couple will not necessarily come to things at the same time. And there's that conflict.
That's right. And once again, when there's conflict, that's an opportunity to become closer with each other.
And to learn things about yourself.
That's right.
So we actually had, to use a real life example, right? We're choosing about where we were living, right? And there was this much smaller house to live in, not quite as, convenient a neighborhood, right? You know what I'm saying? Not like it was more dangerous or anything like that. It might be safer, actually, in some ways. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The library was many more blocks away. Public transportation wasn't as accessible. The home itself, didn't get as much sun. It wasn't south-facing.
Right. And it just wasn't as sparkly, right? It just wasn't as sparkly. All the things that for me sparkle, it had much less of that. And it was going to provide a lot more room, right, for our family, right? And so we had made this decision that that's what we were going to do. We were moving there, we were doing that because it was going to give us a lot more space financially,
and
right?
By room and space, if I may go into more detail, bills would have been lower. The bills were lower at the house. It's an easier house to maintain. For myself personally, if I'm trying to use my own skills.
Cheaper if we're hiring somebody.
Exactly, cheaper if we're hiring somebody. It's just a less expensive house, period.
So it made total sense. And I agreed to this. I mean, it made total sense to move to this house, all these moving pieces, this sort of thing. This is what we're doing. But the ceilings are low. But it's smaller. It doesn't have the sparkle, right? So I had to do work. Like I could have. Well, Design, how come we supposed to have enough money to do, and you supposed to, right? I could have, right? Luckily, by the time we got to that point, I had learned and become skilled at some skills. I need to learn how to say that. Skilled at some tools, yes, right? I learned to become practiced at them. That I was able to say, oh, wait, that's where I need to do some growth, right? And I had to do real work. I had to work on, all this financial room. Like, that's what makes it sparkly.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? All this being tight financially, that's what makes the other one dull, right?
That's right.
And that wasn't like just one time. That wasn't like, oh, yeah, I see. And now I'm perfectly happy. I had to talk to myself and work with myself and think about kind of house I grew up in and the type of things that people said about that and the messages that I got about what it meant and what would it mean that I was living as an adult in a house that didn't have half the shine that I grew up. Like, what does that mean, right? And a lot of those sorts of stories and that sort of thing get wrapped up into money, right? Are purposely wrapped up into money.
That's right.
Right? What would it mean if my shoes look like this? Is how they get you to buy new ones. What does it mean if my clothes do this? Is how they get you to buy new ones. And so separating those things out, do you know what I'm saying? So that you can make a choice that's not so much, I don't know that we can ever get 100% away from all of those messages, right? At least not in one lifetime, right? Especially since we're continuing to be bombarded with them. And we can get better. We can get more separate from those messages, right? Turns out, we figured out how to have still not quite as much room, but not totally without any room and still stay in the sparkly house, right? So we ended up doing that. And because I had done that other work, when that other opportunity came, I was able to really sort of evaluate it for what it was, right? As opposed to just, relief, I don't have to do this horrible thing that's going to make me feel bad. I actually wouldn't feel bad living in that other house. You know what I'm saying? I'd gotten very used to it. I was actually kind of excited about it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if there wasn't a 13-year-old that lived here, this is the only house I've ever known, then I may have, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's part of it, right? My sort of wanting sparkly and sort of, people wanting to stay where they were.
And what she brought up is very significant. This part about socialization. We weren't born to like a sparkly house or a particularly type of sparkliness in a house.
Right.
That was taught. That was socialized. And the longer we've been living on this earth, the more opportunity we've had to have been affected by those things. And what we do is we lose the ability to trust ourselves. We end up having the movies and the other things we're taught as we come up, whether it's in school or in other interactions, guide us instead of us guiding ourselves in terms of determining what is valuable, what are we actually, what we actually think is important.
What do we really want?
What do we really want?
Mm-hmm. So before we leave y'all, I want to sort of switch gears, right? I want to make sure we get this one that we talked about, which is about how a couple handles money, the choices that they make about it, right? I don't think there's any right way, right? Like, oh, it should be all together. It should be separate, right? We should put in this way, we should put in that way. I think that to the extent that couples have the conversation, right, about how y'all are going to do your money.
That's right.
And have that conversation as authentically and honestly as possible, right? And then grow in being able to be more authentic and more honest about it, then you make the right way.
Exactly. Paying attention to each other, listening to each other, paying attention to your own feelings allows you to make more authentic decisions in the moment about more authentic financial decisions, specifically, and more authentic decisions, period.
That's right.
And that's where we want ourselves to be and where we like to help others be in this money managing during marriage situation. And it's something that we think can absolutely be accomplished. I mean, and again, when you come into a relationship and you are with another person, they've had years of what they've caught and what they've been taught about what the value of money is in a relationship with you, or how money is managed, or whose role and responsibility is to do what. And so have you. And so you begin to understand and learn each other, and you've become, in the beginning of our marriage, how we handled our money would have been, more together.
We put it all, dumped it all in the same pot.
Accounts were in, it would all be in the same pot, and we use that money for the purposes we thought had priority or more important. And then as we've been married, some of the ways we've handled money has changed. We've had to discuss those changes. And so it looks a little different now as our priorities have changed, as
our priorities have changed, as our needs have changed.
Right. And as we've done the work of healing ourselves, or, as we've tried to build what our family looks in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
See, managing our money looks different when I'm not sitting in the cubicle. Managing our money looks different when I'm out hustling to sell books and sell cookies and do whatever else I'm doing to raise money. How we manage money is going to look different. Where we keep that money is going to look different. And so we change by keeping the lines of communication open, trying to be to share the feelings that we have, address them as necessary, and that's what's going to get you home. Not a particular style. That's what's going to get you home. I have a friend of mine. I'll not use names to protect the innocent, and she believes that husbands are the ones who are supposed to manage money. You make the money, you manage the money. Does her husband make money? Yes. Does he manage the money? Absolutely not. She manages the money. Does she think less of him because of that? No, she doesn't. She's changed what she thinks about what's necessary because of how they run their family works for them. He may not want to say necessarily how much money that he makes.
Right. I don't think that he does. Right. And what the part about the honesty and the authenticity, right, of where you are, right? He doesn't lie about how much money he makes.
That's right.
He says, I ain't going to be able to tell you how much money I make. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, for whatever reason, he doesn't feel comfortable doing that, right? He may or may not be working on whether he, getting more comfortable. I don't know. She may or may not be asking him. You know what I'm saying? Right? But he's saying, I I'm gonna give you. I can give you this much money. You do that. You can ask me. She'd be asking for money. Do you know what I'm saying? So because she's paying the bills, right?
And he doesn't second guess or ask her any questions when she comes and says,
right.
I need X amount of dollars. They've developed that trust with one another. They develop a system that works for them, whether we agree with that system.
Or whether that system would work for us or not.
That's right.
Right? It's about it works for them. And so that's fantastic. And I assume that they will change it if it doesn't work. Right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely working for them. It's working for them, and it's working for them as they take Jamaican vacations. It's working for them as their kids go to private school. It's working for them. I mean, if she had decided,
That's right.
I just can't get with this brother because a man is supposed to manage his money. I'm not supposed to be paying bills. I'm sitting at a computer paying bills. I got a man sitting over there, and I'm paying bills. Well, she wouldn't
be
have a Jamaican vacation.
That's right. That's right. And so it's really about. I see a lot of things, especially on the interwebs, about this is how it's supposed to be this way, and a man is supposed to be that, or a woman is supposed to be that, or no one's supposed to be this way, and it always makes it a little sad, a little bit scared. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that it really is about what the couple decides, and about being flexible and fluid, and working what works for you. And if it truly, honestly, and authentically works for you, then I would call it good.
Right. Having roles isn't a bad thing. Having roles is functional. It can be intergenerationally functional.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, oh, that's the role of a man. This is what I do. And I can march down that same road just like my father and my father's father before him. And the situation that we're in here often requires a little more flexibility. We have to be a little more limber on our toes. And so we may have to learn some roles that we don't consider traditional. And we darn sure have to make sure that we're not following roles that are just given to us.
That's right.
Outside of our family, outside of our people,
That's
as if that's the authority on how a marriage should be run.
So I think I want to say that again because I think it's really important, right? Mm-hmm. When a group of people are under attack, right, we may not be able to behave in all the ways that we have during times when we were not under attack, right? And so if we, like we say, we know we have to bob and weave some, right? And in all areas, right? We have to bob and weave in childcare. We have to bob and weave in money management, all sorts of areas.
That's right.
We have to respond to and respond to the attacks upon us and prepare ourselves to be actively fighting. And so that can look a whole bunch of different ways.
I'll tell you how it can look. And was it 2009, the year I got laid off? I was officially at that point out of my cubicle job.
Okay.
And in that same year, every husband that I knew,
that's right,
also got laid off. So no matter what our particular roles had been up to that point, as families, we made changes. We made new decisions.
Had to make changes.
Right, we had new changes financially, as we began to say, how are we going to rebuild what this family looks like financially?
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to rebuild what this family looks like in terms of our roles, whether it's in the short term or the long term?
That's right.
And we all managed to make those changes. And I think we're all better off for having made those changes.
And then, right, and if the brothers had stuck to, well, I have to be making better than there's no, you know what I mean, they have to, then a lot of businesses wouldn't have gotten started. Right. And if the sisters had stuck to, well, where's the check?
That's right.
Right. Then a lot of time for those businesses to grow, do you know what I'm saying, wouldn't have happened. And I think that we are better off now.
It sparked our creativity. Businesses were built, houses were paid off, relationships were made stronger. Children were born. A lot of things happened.
So, work it the way it works for you. Is that our takeaway?
Work it the way it works for you. I like that.
You like that? Work it the way it works for you. I think that money is definitely one of those things. And in order to do that, I think a key component is to listen and deal with the messages, right? And then those messages that tell you that you're not enough, you're not good enough, you have to spend money on this, your credit score has to be that, your house has to be like this, you have to have this much sparkle. Those are often the things that have us spending money in ways that are, that may not be really what we want.
That's right.
Okay. I think that's what we got. So before we go, I want to, again, so now is the time. You know what I'm saying? Now is the time to go ahead and register for Relationship Wednesdays. You can PayPal me at evelyn.washington@gmail.com. You can, and that's $20 per person or $35 per couple. It's going to be this Wednesday, September 11th, 8 to 9:30 on Zoom, right? Once you register tomorrow, I'll send out the link to the Zoom room to everybody. If you don't have PayPal, now's the time to text. Just text me, call me right now, right? And we don't have Cash App. We need to get the Cash App. I don't even know how to do the, I don't know how to do it.
I'm going to say I'm probably not getting Cash App.
And in fact, I don't even know if our phones are so old. Can we even download it? I don't know. But we'll figure something out, right? We will absolutely work it out. And those of you all that registered this evening can use that money towards private sessions with us in the month of September. All right, y'all. Have a great night.